Here I am again, this time with a bit of a longer talk. I won't make it too long because we're already late, of course. I will talk a bit about what we currently have available for developers to work with if you want to build something on top of IOTA. And afterwards I will tell a bit about how the foundation will support the hackathon. So, what's available now? We have improved our client libraries over the last year. We launched our completely rewritten TypeScript library. So we had a JavaScript library. It's a lot better done right now. That's available to use. It's the most extensive library there is at this point. So if you're working with Node.js, definitely have a look at that. We also worked on our Go and Java libraries. We hired 2 developers to actively maintain and improve those libraries. So we will see more improvement on that level as well. We are working on C libraries as well. You can have a look at the entangled GitHub repository for the more lower level action. And this will include all the basics, including mem as well, C, IRI, etc. And of course we have our Python and C++ libraries, which didn't really get a lot of improvements over the last year, but they're still solid foundations to work with. Another thing we released this year is the Trinity Wallet. I guess most of you know about this. It's both a mobile and a desktop wallet. It's available for Mac, Windows, Linux, iOS and Android. Get it at trinity.iota.org. It also supports the Ledger Nano S that was recently added, and the cool thing about this part of the project is that it's part of the Eclipse Foundation. It's completely open source. Build on top of it as you like, monetize it if you want to. But yeah, you can even build your own Trinity-based wallet solution for certain use cases. We released IOTA Hop as well this year. IOTA Hop is a piece of software that controls your balance. You could, if you simplify it, you could see it as a programmable wallet. It keeps tracks of user accounts, balances, addresses, signatures, seeds even, and it makes sure that you get deposit addresses. Basically everything you have to code yourself when you're receiving payments using IOTA and sending payments using IOTA for multiple users, it is handled by Hop. So reattachments, address generation, the aggregation of funds of several addresses into a single holding cold wallet, it's all handled by Hop. And it's written in C++. It uses gRPC to communicate with it, so you can interact with it through several programming languages. Almost every programming language has a gRPC library available. And yeah, a really great way if you want to handle funds to use it. It will save you a lot of time on developing token-based solutions or fund-based solutions in IOTA. Another thing we released recently is the open source coordinator called Compass. And this is the last thing you need in order to create your own private Tangle, testnet. So now it's possible to have a local testnet on your own. It's pretty easy to set up. I did it myself in a couple of hours without any documentation available. There is some documentation available for it right now on the documentation side. And there's a quick start tutorial as well. I will probably do a live stream in the next couple of weeks on setting this up as well. So anyone who wants to research the Tangle on their own network or want to give themselves 2.7 PI, it's all possible. Another cool thing we're working on right now is the documentation. We're constantly improving the documentation, and we will be releasing a new developer documentation hub as well very, very soon. This is a sneak preview of how it will look, and we will continue our efforts to get better documentation on there so that it's very easy for everyone to get started with IOTA. Something that didn't really receive a lot of visual attention this year is method-authenticated messaging, but it's something very usable, and it has been covered in a couple of these talks before. We're actually it's a way of sending messages over the Tangle, encrypted. It can be public, it can be private, it can have a shared key at this moment. Because it's feeless, it's a very interesting technique to use because you can send messages over a distributed network for free. There's not a lot of other solutions that offer that right now. It's currently JavaScript only, and it has a couple of things here and there, as Jelle mentioned. But I'm very happy to tell you that a new version is in the works, completely redone, the true version of MEM. This MEM could have been seen more like a prototype beta version, and this will be a fully researched and developed version of MEM, including private key and authentication. We will be seeing that as well soon. So what else is in the works? If we're looking at 2019, we're going to work towards more standardization, even more mature and lower level code for better performance. So we will see performance improvements for nodes, for the client libraries as well. Of course, a lot of research is being done towards all kinds of topics, especially core-to-site, getting rid of the coordinator. Local snapshots are around the corner. They should arrive at any moment, I guess. I just saw another release candidate the other day. And we have a Troika. This is not really something to develop on, but it's a cool new hashing algorithm being developed by Cybercrypt. And there is a 200,000 euro competition ongoing on seeing how resistant it is. It will take a while before this is being put into action, but it's something that's going on. We're still developing Cubic as well. It's distributed computing for Internet of Things. It's based on quorum-based computations, so you send it to multiple computers, and based on the quorum reached by those computations, you get a validated answer back. It's optimized to run on all types of hardware. Yeah, and there are still monthly updates about that. So every third of the month you will get a new blog post about it. And if you want to be updated about it constantly, you could have a look at our Discord channel, Omega Cubic. Eric is very forward on updating you about all the progress there is on this topic. Another exciting new thing we're working on is ICT. That's how it's pronounced. It's not ICT, it's ICT. It stands for IOTA Controlled Agent, and it's basically a lightweight IOTA node without a lot of functionality. But this actually runs very well on mobile devices. It doesn't have a coordinator at this moment. It doesn't have proof of work at this moment. So it's very lean and mean. And the real power of ICT is in its extensibility. So you can create plugins called IXI, and to add additional functionality on top of the Tangle. Currently, this is a completely separate network. It's not the IOTA mainnet, it's not the IOTA devnet, it's the ICT devnet. This is the current state of the nodes we have on it. A lot of community members are contributing nodes to it. Over the last week, it grew from around 100 to over 250 nodes. These are all Raspberry Pis or similar provided by the community. And it's based on trust as well. So as you can see, these are not connected to the main network. You can kick your neighbors out and they won't be connected to you anymore if they're giving any issues. It currently doesn't have any built-in persistence, so it's all in memory, which makes it possible, of course, to run it on devices like a Raspberry Pi. This is a cool example of one of these extensions. It's a chat application. It is run entirely decentralized, so there's no central server handling this chat. Basically, if you connect your node to the IOTA network, you will have access to this chat and to the neighbors you're connected to directly or indirectly. So this is all running on your Raspberry Pi. There's no centralized server involved. If you want to have a chat with, say, your local network at home, and you only connect to neighbors in your network at home, only those neighbors will see your messages, and you can basically have some sort of clusterized chat version. I think it's pretty cool, and it's because it doesn't have any proof of work at this moment, no coordinator. It's instant, so you press the enter key, and everyone receives your message connected to you. And this is just one of the examples of a extension you can add for IOTA. You can build one yourself as well. There is a boilerplate available. You can have a look at the source of the chat exe or the reporting exe as well. It's pretty easy to work with. It's currently all Java based because it's very easy to work with it and to iterate on it. Of course, this will evolve into other languages later on, but we are working on providing support for creating extensions in other languages as well. So this is really new stuff, but I think it shows a lot of potential and it could be very cool to use in the hackathon as well. This is actually one of the most active projects in terms of community engagement at this point. So it's like the busiest channel on our Discord right now, which is really cool. A lot of community members are actually building stuff on top of this and helping or just hanging out in the chat. So if you're interested in this, definitely have a look at the Discord. So the Odyssey Hackathon. What will the IOTA Foundation do to support the hackathon? Well, first of all, we will be there. At least 2 Jedis will be available, so people who will be there constantly to help with the projects based on IOTA, getting you sorted with the IOTA technology, making sure that everything runs smoothly and that you can you don't bump into any issues and get stuck. I will be there, probably Lewis will be there, some other members will drop by probably. Next, we want to sponsor 1 or 2 teams that need to travel. So if you're from the EU or something, not from the Netherlands, and you want to participate in this, you don't have any funds for travel, you want to build something with IOTA, just give us a message on Discord and we'll see what we can do. We will be creating some content packages as well and support for the teams that are participating in the hackathon. There's a Discord channel called Odyssey Hackathon on Discord right now. If you need support, you can ask there, but the content packages will be distributed to the teams working with IOTA beforehand. We will also do a workshop, IOTA workshop, on the 4th of February in the Tech Deep Dive, where you can ask all kinds of questions and we will have a look at how the Tangle works, how you can interact with it, and if it's something to use for your proof of concept. And of course, we will publicly communicate about the whole event before, during, and after the hackathon. So yeah, that's what we want to do. Here are some links to the stuff I just talked about, the hackathon itself, our documentation, and of course the Discord. Definitely join that one. It's always nice to have a chat with all of you. And we're running very late on time, so I won't be doing any Q&A, but if you have a question, just hit me up on the drinks afterwards, and you can always find me on the Discord, of course. And I want to thank you all for your attention this evening.